Yes, we're in the age of various regional development commissions, but one started that. And we're joined, yes, as you can see, by the MD of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Dr. Samuel Ogbuku. He's right here with us in our Lagos studio. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Brief, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
We had to bring you all the way to Lagos to have this very important conversation because the NDDC basically set the tone for other development commissions. So now we have other regions with their development commissions. Before we get into the work that the NDDC has been doing and hopes to do for the region, very important region, which we just had a conversation now but about another thing, I'd like to start with the sports festival. It was a moment that other regions were looking at and saying, don't worry, we will do our own too. But the sports festival is over. We have winners.
That all abandoned projects are completed.
Yeah, so before you begin to talk about projects, I want to ask how much of the projects of the past is your administration of the NDDC absorbing? Because the Association of Project Managers just a day ago or so gave an account of the number of abandoned projects in the country, and the Niger Delta alone has 13,000. And of course, we cannot separate that number from the number of abandoned projects under past administrations of the NDDC. So how much of that are you taking on?
Well, you see, most of these projects, you examine them. As much as projects have been abandoned, you must also tell yourself the truth. It's not all you can do. Some of these projects were awarded through the budget. And by the Procurement Act, you know that the Procurement Act states that once a project variation is beyond 15%, then that project has to be terminated and be re-awarded. So you cannot also, because you have passion to finish this project, you want to go and carry on those projects. And some of these projects, mind you, they don't also reflect in our budget anymore. So if they are not there in the budget, you cannot also handle them. So as much as we have new projects, we're also trying to ensure that at least the legacy projects, those flagship projects of the NDDC, which our predecessors initiated, let us try as much as possible to finish those projects. Right now, we have some of them ongoing, like the Kaataba Bridge, which is a 1.2 kilometers long bridge, which we want to finish this year. We inherited that project at about, let's say, 50% of because the pillar, but we want to finish it by the ending of this year. It's a 1.2 kilometer, very long bridge. We want to finish it. Then we have the Okrika Burukri bridge, which where the contractors are also going back to site now. Some of these the contractors have been mobilized. They are going back to site. They are working. So we have a couple of them which we want to finish. But we agree that yes, a lot of projects were abandoned. But sometimes the public should also know that why were most of these projects abandoned. You also agree with me that NDDC has been one of the most tampered agencies in Nigeria, where you have frequent changes in the regime and the rest of them. So most times, due to interest, I call them political interests, people don't just want to allow the board to serve its full tenure. Everybody wants to be MD, everybody wants to be chairman, everybody wants to be ED, because they believe, the place is lucrative. With every little crisis, people try to even cause crisis amongst the directors, among the EDs, among the board. So the board has not really lived its full lifespan. This is the 7th governing board of the NDDC. You ask yourself, how many MDs have NDDC had? So as of last year, I was the 9th MD of NDDC from 2015. So you can imagine. So
I'm wondering what's going to happen to those other projects that you say are not captured, under your own budget. Will they be left to decay? And we're just looking at our screen moments ago, a particular broad project that has been abandoned for a long time, and it looks really like an ambitious project. Perhaps you want to speak to both.
The longest bridge in Rivers?
Yeah.
Yes, that is the Kaataba Bridge. That is what I said we're finishing.
What do you call it?
Kaataba Bridge.
Okay, Kaataba.
Yes, okay. It links 2 local governments in Rivers State. Andoni,
I know the area.
Yes, so I think it's the longest bridge in the region. So that is the bridge I said we want to complete this year. So such projects are the ones that we're undertaking, because lots of funds have been expended in those projects, and we don't want to waste those kind of funds.
So I wanted to find out from you, I'm happy you mentioned it, so let's just stay with it for a bit. The various changes tampering, NDDC, mostly being seen as a cesspool of corruption. Now, whatever was going on, whether we like it or not, the things you've identified as the failures that you're trying to fix were benefiting people. And those people have formed some level of institution to keep making sure that that failure continues. How are you managing the people that are sabotaging or making an attempt to sabotage some of these efforts you're working on? Because whether we like it or not, there are people that are not happy that maybe things are working from your own report.
Well, you see, the truth is this. It's simple. As a team, board and management agree to work together. And once you agree to work together, you fight every distraction. So we're lucky to have a chairman who is a technocrat and also a politician who has been able to steer the ship of the board of the NDDC to where it is today. At least he has given the management every support and tool that we need. And there is no disagreement since we started between the board and the management, or even within us as board members, because everybody is like, we have decided to tell ourselves the truth that let us make that difference and make Mr. President proud for once. That is why the place has been calm. It doesn't mean all these people that try to, create problems, they don't try their best. They try their best. Sometimes they'll go and tell your ED something that is false just to incite him against you, or they go and incite the chairman, but we talk to ourselves, and we've come to trust ourselves and believe in ourselves. So, because we have already told ourselves that we must succeed, hence everybody tries to make that sacrifice.
So 2 questions in one I want to ask is, what are the challenges you're facing as NDDC? I know you're exposed to almost a trillion naira, I think about 700 and something billion, according to the budget I saw. But one of the things we also have experienced with the NDDC is the interventionist agency versus the governors. How are you managing that? And now we now have South-South Development Agency, we have Southeast Development Commission. So NDDC is around South-South and Southeast
and
Southwest. So we have all these interventionist agencies, and there's a proliferation of interventionist agency. How are you going to work such that there's not going to be some level of overlap? So 2 questions: overlap with the agencies, other agencies that are springing up, and then relationship with governors.
Well, you see, we don't see any conflict. It's all about complementing each other. NDDC is an interventionist agency playing a complementary role, because the complementary role we play is, like, for example, the what is on your screen there, the Twasega Cottage Hospital, is a state government hospital. But because of our free medical health scheme we are to launch, NDDC renovated the school, the hospital, and furnished it with state-of-the-art equipment. Also, in that same community, built a new school for all these are state government facilities. NDDC is not going to run them. So we're doing them in complementing what the state government is doing. The state governors are also doing very well. So we're also complementing them. Now, in the past, what actually brought the gap was, state governors always complain that, sometimes NDDC is doing the same thing where they are doing the same thing. So but the difference is that we decided to come up with needs assessments. Most of the projects we do are based on needs assessment. We carry out needs assessment. So we don't just come up with projects that will not really impact on the people. If I have the time, I can speak on some of those things. But just to your question, I can assure you that there is not going to be any conflict. Even the new agencies, we can also partner with them to do things together. Whatever development we come up with will be for the benefit of the people. So partnership is the key word. We have decided to partner with state governments to also improve on development. So even the regional agencies that are coming up, we are willing to partner with them.
And that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Speaking of the projects that you might want to mention, a lot of people want to know the East-West Road. What is going to happen with it? Is that something that you're also following to ensure that it's completed? Because it's been a very thorny issue. In fact, a pain in the neck for particularly the Niger Delta. That's on the one hand. Secondly, when Jeff was talking about forces that may be fighting against the work you're doing and the NDDC in general, there was a forensic audit that was done by the previous administration. And, it just sort of disappeared into thin air. And talking about the implementation now, is that something that you met on ground? Is that something that you are looking at as well? What exactly has happened to that forensic audit and the implementation of it?
Well, I think, let me start with East-West Road. The East-West Road is not under the NDDC. It's a project that's under the Ministry of Works.
But the NDDC has shown interest in it.
Yes, we intervened at a point, especially while the construction was going and the road was so bad and it was impassable, especially the outer axis of it and even the Patani axis of it. NDDC intervened by ensuring that the roads were made passable for people, because that is our responsibility as an interventionist agency. So we did that to complement what the Ministry of Works is doing. We are all government, the same federal government. So we only intervened, but the project is actually under the Ministry of Works. Just like we intervened in the Auchi to Irua area of that road too. At least that place was not passable for so many years, over 5 years. But now cars are passing. NDDC, that we consider it intervention. We are not doing the full stretch. But whenever there is such challenges, we intervene. So, but coming to the
forensic audit.
The forensic audit. Well, I think part of it has been implemented. Like the forensic audit recommended that some of the contracts, many contracts should be terminated. And NDDC is actually following up with that. Those contracts that were terminated, we're not going back to them. Some of those contractors have come back to us, so we cannot go into implementing or paying for contracts that have been terminated by the forensic audit. So part of it has been implemented, but I think it is also the responsibility of the federal government to come up on specific areas where they also want to handle. And another part of the implementation to the forensic audit also recommended that NDDC should have a corporate governance structure, which is what we are doing with KPMG. And so those are part of the implementation. So we are looking at the key policies that will also make the institution healthy. So it is not just going to antagonize
people. The part that will interest Nigerians is the former managers of the NDC who stole our money. We also want to know what the law is, because at the end of the day, I know that's not within your purview at the end of the day. So for what interests Nigerians beyond some of these recommendations you made is the fact that people stole money from the NDC. People did. That is why the interventionist agent, which is why you're putting all this corporate structure to put checks and balance. What happens to those people? All the drama we saw at the National Assembly and the faintings and all of that, what happens to those people? I'm saying this because that is how Nigeria assesses transparency and accountability, not just fixing things and then people that are responsible for stealing our funds allegedly are left off the hook. So maybe that's a thought I would just like you to leave with in processing some of the implementation, maybe recommendation. Bukola.
Yeah, go ahead and answer.
Well, I think those areas have also been implemented. You know, the difference between the present administration and the previous administrations, you see that even the anti-graft agencies, they are working, but they are not doing media persecution. So, like those of us in NDDC, we know how many contractors that we always get letters from ICPC and EFCC. Please, we want to see the documents of this contract. We want to see these details. So they are working discreetly. They are working. So it's not as if maybe they've let people go off their hook. But the administration is not doing media prosecution, because sometimes, you know, before now, the anti-graft agencies before now were doing more of media prosecution than the actual work. But I can assure you that sitting on the saddle, I know that they are doing so much, because every day we see letters. Sometimes our directors will also go and say their own part too. This person from this report, this is what. So it is being implemented, that I can assure you. The anti-graft agencies are working.
We hope that, 500 billion naira of the nation's taxpayers' money can be accounted for. At some certain point, that was the amount that was being quoted in terms of monies lost to abandoned projects. But speak to, yet again, that important question about duplicity of functions with the creation of development commissions. Some would say they can understand the creation of a Southeast Development Commission, the creation of a Northeast Development Commission as a result of insurgency, maybe Northwest Development Commission. But a South-South Development Commission, when we already have the NDDC, is it not yet again a huge question mark on the delivery of the mandate of the NDDC in the past years, decades plus that it has been created?
Okay, well, that is a very good question you asked. You know, people always confuse NDDC with South-South Development Commission. They are not the same. Now, in NDDC, you most times see that when they make appointment of someone, people say he's not from the oil-producing area. NDDC was made for oil-producing areas more, to serve the, the degradation of the environment, environmental hazards, and on the development of oil-producing area. Because NDDC was born out of UMPADEC.
Yeah.
It metamorphosed from UMPADEC. UMPADEC was Oil Mineral Producing Area Development Commission. So that is why you see, even when you make appointments, even in Delta State, you see people, oh, this person is from this area that doesn't produce oil. So the South-South Development Commission is to balance that out. So with South-South Development Commission, anybody who is going to be MD must not come from oil-producing area. Cross River, we have equal right with other areas. Like now, under NDDC, because Cross River was producing oil before, now they are not producing, they're almost at zero level. So when it comes to sharing, they're always the least. But when it comes to South-South Development Commission, everybody have equal opportunity. So people should look at it from that angle, that NDDC was actually created to take care of the oil-producing areas, more or less. That is why even in states like Delta, you have the Desopatec.
Yeah.
In Ondo, they have their own. So you see that they're also looking at taking care of oil-producing areas. So if you now say South-South Development Commission should have been NDDC, then you would have seen agitation from oil-producing areas again.
But they have similar development mandates.
No, similar development mandate.
That's
but
the point.
One covers everybody.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Deployment of funds to different commissions where government already has a huge wage bill, not just at the federal government level, but at the state government level.
But development is development. The region is still in dear need of development.
Well, there you go.
So if we have multiple developmental agencies to also take care of the region, it's good.
All right. Kebbi State says they found some sort of oil. I don't know if that raised eyebrows for you, if you are willing to also work with them. But, that's by the way. We have to thank you so much. 25 years since the NDDC was founded, and you find yourself established rather. You find yourself smack in the middle of history. We wish you the very best. And we have to thank you for your time. We've been speaking with Dr. Samuel Ogbuku. I understand you're also a traditional ruler.
Yes, I am.
Say chief. So what are you juggling everything together?
Well, that is part of leadership too.
That's beautiful to hear. He's the managing director of the Niger Delta Development.
And congratulations on your award, by the way, Son Man of the Year award.
Well, not Son Man of the Year, but I think Public Service Award.
I knew there was an award that came through recently. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
All right. Dr. Samuel Ogbuku, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's a look at the NDDC. Clearly, the conversation is not over. We'll be following through to see the progress under the leadership of Dr. Samuel Ogbuku. But we'll take a quick break now. And when we return, we're speaking with someone who does some great work in the music industry. Stay with us. We'll be right back.